Well, welcome into the Farzy Show, everybody. I'm Marc Farzetta here at the Steven Singer Studios. The Farzy Show is presented by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. PJ's off today, so I don't know what any of these buttons do. I had to figure something out a little late, so apologize for getting you guys a little bit late. But you know who wasn't late yesterday? Aaron Nola. I don't know what that means. It was the only segue I could think of. We're going to talk about Aaron Nola today, his dominant performance against the Braves. He helps the Phillies earn the split of the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta before heading north to New York to take on the Mets for a 3-game series. But Aaron Nola absolutely dominant in his start last night. I'm saying this right out of the gate. I would have given him one more batter, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Joel Embiid, yesterday, briefly, I got into the idea that Joel Embiid had a bit of a troll, if you will. I brushed it off. I went, haha, Joel, not the time, buddy. Not the time. We don't need that right now. Phillies were terrible. The Sixers, of course, are not in the Eastern Conference Finals. So the last thing I need is Joel Embiid cracking jokes about possibly trolling people, about possibly going to Miami, about maybe forcing his way out of Philadelphia. I didn't take it to the nth degree as some other people may have yesterday. But as I'm going around social media, I start to see that it goes into the national spotlight. And then I start to see Joel Embiid with a Miami Heat jersey photoshopped on him. And now I'm thinking, great. Even though I'm pushing it aside, going, okay, not inappropriate. It seems like now the national news is, the national perspective is taking it up and going, oh, does Joel Embiid want out of Philadelphia? And maybe some local people here are going, oh, is Joel Embiid, is he trying to force his way out of Philadelphia? I don't take it that far, but we'll get into it a little bit more today. Charles Barkley has an issue with Dubs fans out there in the Golden State, so we'll get into that. Chuck was a little upset yesterday after that Dubs victory with the Golden State faithful throwing T-shirts up there on the stage. And like I said, we're going to get into the Eagles as well because Jalen Hurts, disrespected or snubbed, I think might be a little strong here, especially when you consider Chris Sims, who I think does a great job breaking down the NFL overall. I've had the opportunity to interview the man a bunch of times, and I think he's got a great grasp on how the league is, run and a talent evaluation and all that. But Jalen Hurts was a bit of a bad mark for Chris Sims last year. Because he left Jalen Hurts, Chris Sims did. Chris Sims left Jalen Hurts off his top 40 list of quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts not even on the list last year. Now this year, somehow magically, he is number 25 on that list. We're going to break that down, take a closer look at it. I think he does a great job breaking down the Eagles as well. An Eagles fan broke it down from well across the sea. And we'll get his perspective from the numbers point of view on everything that's going on with the Phils. See, I'm already freaked out, April. I looked down at the comments and I see your comment. Hey, look, whoa. So we don't have PJ. So when that happens, boom, I can do this. What's up, April? Yeah. Marc in charge of the board. Oh, no. Yeah. So I look down and I see your comment there, April, and I go, wait, I changed the board? What do you mean I changed the board? Marc, changed the board? Like, as I look closely, and I go, oh, no, okay, no, everything's up and running. You guys can hear me. You guys can see me if you're watching. This is great. So far, minus the fact that I was 8 minutes late. Without a hitch. Let's get into those Philadelphia Phillies yesterday. First thing that jumped out to me about this game, they win 4-1 over the Braves. Like I said, they get the split. Odubel Herrera back in the starting lineup. I was not a fan of that. I was with a lot of other people on social media. I was agreeing with what I was seeing in terms of guy basically cost you a game by overrunning a ball in center field. Not even a hit ball, but a thrown ball. Run ends up scoring on it. How do you let this guy? Like, where's any of the discipline? Where's any of the corralling of this locker room? Where's anything like that? Any punitive action? And then of course Herrera ends up getting you a big hit in this ball game. But Joe Girardi decided to stick with him. And I find in games where Joe Girardi really doesn't have to use the bullpen, he's a lot better manager. That's all great. For me, I was watching Aaron Nola in that ninth inning, and I'm thinking, wow, this could be a Phillies perfect game. Now, What does that mean? No runs, no hits, all that stuff, no base runners, a perfect game. No, in a Phillies fans world, a perfect game is the game you don't see the bullpen. So Aaron Nola was pretty close to that yesterday. He gets within 2 outs, and they give the ball to Corey Knebel. I would have given Aaron Nola, after 8 1/3, after 10 strikeouts, after no runs allowed, I would have and by the way, getting ahead of batters left and right and saying afterwards that was the key to his success in last night's game. But as I'm watching him, I'm thinking, I know he's going to be on a short leash. They showed you the footage of him in the dugout with Joe Girardi approaching him, and you could see the exchange. It was clear as day. Joe Girardi's basically saying to him, like, how you feeling? And Nola's like, I'm going to keep going. This is my game. I'm supposed to be, if not the ace of the staff next to Zach Wheeler, the number 2 guy in this rotation. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and finish this game off. Joe Girardi, to his credit. Now, I thought it might have been a little bit more than that from Joe Girardi because he went up there and shook the man's hand, and usually that means that's the end of it. But sure enough, Nola, I don't know if he demanded to stay in the game. I'll let you hear from Joe Girardi post-game about what that conversation really was. But Aaron Nola nonetheless stays in the game. He goes out there, he gets it out. You're thinking, all right, this is good. Then Olsen steps to the plate. And I don't know why JT Realmuto, and look, Aaron Nola's sinker yesterday and his curveball yesterday, his knuckle curve yesterday, everything was working for him. He was pulling the string on everything. But for the life of me, I don't know why JT Realmuto would call for a high inside sinker on Olsen yesterday that he just tattooed to right center field, I think it was. So, and that was a ball that I thought Nick Castellanos should have had, by the way. And he didn't. He came in on the ball, so it was more right field. He came in on the ball first. I saw it. I went back and watched it a couple of times because I was like, wait, did that hit at the base of the wall, the middle of the warning track? You clearly see Nick Castellanos taking a step in first and then coming back. And if he gets a good break on that ball, there's 2 outs in that inning, and Aaron Nola is 1 out away from finishing it off. Sure enough, Castellanos breaks in, ball lands on the middle of the warning track. You got a runner on second base, Aaron Nola out of the game. Corey Knebel comes in, and as fate would have it, not without making it interesting, does the bullpen come into this game. There's a wild pitch, a run scores, get another runner on first, and then Knebel is able to get the third out of the inning, his second out of the game, and the Phillies get the 4-1 victory. But you got to be thinking, Aaron Nola's in that dugout afterwards, and there's so many GIFs that are out there with, nervous drinking of water, you know what I mean? And you're watching it, and I'm like looking for the right GIF to like match up to it on Twitter just to try to keep some semblance of sanity as I'm watching this unfold. And I'm thinking, we as Phillies fans are doing exactly what Aaron Nola is doing in the dugout right now. Like, we're nervous as hell because he just pitched his ass off for 8 1/3. You actually got a couple of runs of support here with 4 runs, and we'll get to the offense in a second. And now you're sitting in the dugout going, am I going to get my first win since opening day? Because that's the last time the Phillies won a game for Aaron Nola, was the first game of the season. Cool. Way to be. Nice job. And as fate would have it, folks, I'm watching this game play out, and in the 3rd inning, JT Realmuto steps to the plate. That's how you got your offense. JT Realmuto steps to the plate and belts one to left field, home run, his 3rd of the season. Hopefully JT's starting to crawl out of his huge slump that he's been in here, his huge funk. So you get 1 run on the board. Aaron Nola's riding that 1 run until the 7th inning. When of all people, now, actually, I need to finish that inning off. 3rd inning, Realmuto hits the home run. The Phillies then load the bases with nobody out. And you're like, oh, this is going to be the inning where they blow it open for Aaron Nola. We need 1 clutch hit here, boys. Bases loaded, nobody out. Alec Boehm steps to the plate. One of your best hitters all season. Strikes out. Bryce Harper, your MVP, steps to the plate. Grounds into the inning and huge threat ending double play. Phillies get 1 run to lead off the inning. No runs despite the bases loaded, no out situation in the 3rd inning. Aaron Nola still riding that 1-0 lead now into the 7th inning. And as fate would have it, once again, 2 outs in the inning. Odubel Herrera at the plate. He drives in a couple of runs. Amazing. Then they get the next out. They're out of that inning. The very next inning, Nick Castellanos steps to the plate, again with 2 outs, again runners in scoring position. He gets a double to center field. Now you're up 4-0, and you're feeling pretty good going into that 9th inning where everything just unfolded from what I told you about Aaron Nola. But as far as Odubel Herrera goes in this offense, of course he comes up with a big hit yesterday. Of course Joe Girardi decides to keep him in the lineup, and that's where he decides to reward his coach with his confidence, his manager with his confidence in him by keeping him in the lineup despite his egregious error in yesterday's ballgame. Bottom line, Phillies come out of this series splitting with the Braves, which is nice. It's just odd that you got to put in your back pocket. You consider the Dodgers series. You had a chance to sweep the series with the Dodgers, and you blew it. You still won 3-4, which is great, in Los Angeles I'm talking about. Then you go on, and you have a couple of week series, obviously, and now you're in Atlanta for a 4-game series with the Braves. And yes, you split, but damn, it could have been 3-1. It could have been a 3-1 series win for the Phillies if just a couple of things go their way in this series, which it did not. Now, there's not going to be much of a post-game report today, but I do want to give you one thing, and it'll be brought to you by, obviously, the people of Rothman Orthopaedics. And this is just Joe Girardi, what the future has in store for the Phillies, for their rotation, as well as Aaron Nola's outing last night in Atlanta. Here's Joe Girardi postgame.
Kept this pitch count really down. I think he had 50 after 4 and he was 100 after 8, right? So he basically repeated what he did. Didn't really get in much trouble. I think he had first and third with 2 outs at one point. But he just pitched. He was great.
Any discussion at all about sending him back out for the 9th, or was that kind of a sort of?
Yeah, I talked to him to see how he felt. He felt good, so we sent him back out. But I told him I would have a short leash, right? Because I don't want his pitch count to get too high.
And is there a chance he's going to get 2 days between his next one, with the off day and if you?
No, I'm not sure what we're going to do, but it will be faltered tomorrow.
It will be faltered. So he could conceivably have a little extra time.
He could. That's something we could do. I mean, he's going to at most be on 6 days.
Barely falter gets your start tomorrow night, but Aaron Nola doing everything he could in that start to try to get the Phillies the win, and he actually did so. Corey Knebel comes in and gets the 2-out save. Always nice to see that when the bullpen does their job, despite how scary it might be. But Joe Girardi's attitude from yesterday still has irked me. Now, he made the right decision. Odubel Herrera actually, I think, did a fine job in the lineup yesterday, and certainly you can't make up for a loss, but he helped the Phillies win this game. You'd rather have that than not. The only thing I would have done that was different from Joe Girardi yesterday was I would have given Aaron Nola the one more batter. Now, all right, leave well enough alone, you could say right now. But as far as I'm concerned, when I'm watching Aaron Nola yesterday, I give him at least one more batter in that 9th inning and see if he can get himself out of that jam, if you will. I don't know why JT Realmuto is calling for that pitch, but Aaron Nola hit the spot. And when I'm judging whether or not I'm going to pull a pitcher from a game that he has been dominant in for the vast majority of, I'm seeing, is he leaking gas? Does he not have that zip on his pitches anymore? He threw a sinker at 93 miles per hour, where he'd been throwing it pretty much all game as far as miles per hour go, and it was right at the mitt of where JT Realmuto was calling for it. So I didn't think Nola was cooked. I didn't think he was gassed. Obviously, his adrenaline is going a little bit because he's telling his manager, I'm staying in this game and I'm finishing off. Manager gives him a chance, does tell him, as you heard right there, he's going to give him a short leash. If you get into trouble, you're out. He put a runner in scoring position with 1 out, and that was enough for Joe Girardi. I would have given him one more batter. It's the only thing. You want to be hypercritical? I don't think it's hypercritical. I think you're evaluating what you're seeing in Aaron Nola and seeing whether or not he can give you another pitch or at least another out or 2 outs in this case. So I thought it was just one batter too early. Phillies start the 3-game series with the Mets tonight. You just heard the man barely falter, will be on the hill. Let me tell you guys about Destination Retirement at DestinationRetirement.com. Mike Seibert is a retirement income certified professional at Destination Retirement, LLC, and a partner of 1847 Financial, and an advisor for Eagles, Sixers, and Phillies fans only, and maybe next year, the Flyers. Well, when it comes to long-term savings, why are you giving up the current enjoyment of your income? The answer is to have income streams in retirement. It only makes sense then to understand how retirement income streams work. So you can direct savings in ways that can help you have a high income when you retire. It's like going up a mountain. Going up the mountain is your accumulation phase. Going back down the mountain is your distribution phase. These are the two different phases of your financial life, and each should be addressed separately. This month, let's talk about college planning. We all know that college is expensive. Well, have you ever thought about how it will affect your retirement? Let Mike Seibert at DestinationRetirement.com show you an efficient way to help pay for your kids' college education and still retire on your own terms. Your first step is to avoid starting your growth cycle over by depleting accounts like 529s for big expenses like college. You don't want to lose your position on your growth cycle and have to start over. You can't get that time back. Instead, set yourself up with the ability to use vehicles that you can take money out of without starting your growth cycle over again. Find out how your annual retirement savings can help your college savings and how your college savings can help your annual retirement savings. Michael, set up your own portal and retirement analyzer, then use the software to help you navigate through your different phases of your financial life. For questions or to set up a meeting with Mike, you can email him at gobirds at 1847financial.com. That's gobirds at 1847financial.com. Or simply call his office at 484-275-6035. That's 484-275-6035. 484-275-6035. You can also visit his website at destinationretirement.com. And as always, go Birds. Let me tell you about my man Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row in Philadelphia. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to all your jewelry purchases, you should do what I do. Trust my man Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, because at Steven Singer Jewelers, you know you're getting the perfect price every day. When you walk in, it's not about, oh, do you have the promo code? Oh, do you have the coupon? Oh, the sale was yesterday. Sorry, you missed it. No, the sale is every day because you get the perfect price. Now, what's the perfect price? Well, other jewelers say I hate Steven Singer because, well, he doesn't mark things way up just to mark it down a couple of bucks in front of you, make you feel like you won something when you're losing out here. Steven marks everything at the perfect price, every single item. Every dazzling diamond, sparkling diamond that he has at Steven Singer Jewelers is marked at the perfect price. So this way, you know you're getting taken care of like family at Steven Singer, and you don't have to worry about the person next to you is paying less than you because they know how to negotiate better. No, it's the perfect price every single day. Whether you go to IHateStevenSinger.com or you go directly to the other corner of 8th and Walnut, where Steven Singer is waiting for you to come on in. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price every day. And you're going to get walked through everything by a real jewelry expert at Steven Singer Jewelers. Trust Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price every day at IHateStevenSinger.com. Our guest today, this is a first, but if there's ever anyone I was going to do a special show for, a feature show, if you will, a special episode, an extra episode, 2 shows in one day. If there was ever a man I was going to do that for, it's Ray Didinger. Ray Didinger is retiring after 53 years covering sports in Philadelphia, most notably the Eagles, writing books, making NFL content for NFL films, where I think he won something like about 100 Emmys. I don't know. And simply one of the nicest men I've ever met in my entire life. I'm not kidding you. He'll join the Farzy show for a special edition coming up at 9:30 today. He will be our guest on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. And quite frankly, I'm very much looking forward to it. I've had a really good relationship with Ray over the years, and I met the man 16 years ago. And he, from the moment I met him, when I was basically an intern, more or less, really a promotion team member, Ray treated me the same he treats me now, which is as a friend. And I'm like you. I grew up watching Ray Didinger, reading Ray Didinger, watching products that Ray Didinger put out there through NFL films. And he was just the nicest man. And every single time I've seen him, it's the same, hello, Marc, that I got when I was a 22-year-old fresh out of college kid. And we have had a great relationship over the years. I told you at the time of John Madden's passing that Ray would always, of all the stories that he has about every NFL legend ever, and he had many interactions, as you would assume, with John Madden, he would tee me up for this, like, I thought, mild story. If we were around, I remember being around Brian Baldinger at an Eagles practice, and Ray just dropping in like, hey, Marc, hello, Marc. Hey, Marc, how's Coach doing? how's Coach Madden doing? And he'd be teeing me up to tell my story about how John Madden completely blew me off one time in the catering tent following the San Antonio home Super Bowl where he caught the ball in the corner of the end zone, Steelers, Cardinals. And he just thought it was the funniest thing in the world. I'm like, Ray, of all the stories you have, why are you entertained by my story? He's just like, I just find it to be a funny story, Mark. But he's just such a gracious guy. And the amount of self-awareness he has is off the charts. And when I heard the news and watched the video where Glenn Macnow is throwing to Ray and saying, Ray, you have an announcement, go ahead. And Ray's telling the story about how he's going to retire, announcing that he's going to retire. I had a smile on my face. I was sad selfishly because I'm not going to hear that breakdown. I'm not going to hear somebody attack the Eagles' problems or praise the Eagles more. I'm not going to hear the way Ray did it anymore. But I was so happy because personally knowing the man and considering him a friend of mine, and knowing how much he loves his family, and his son Dave, as many of you know, is a cameraman for NBC Sports Philadelphia and NFL Films, and he's the one that captured "You Want Philly, Philly" at the Super Bowl. And Dave is a great guy, and Dave I've gotten to know over the years. I was just smiling from ear to ear because I know how much Ray Didinger loves his family, and I know how much he loves the Eagles, and how much he wants to go back to being a fan again. And to be able to talk to him again later today, and that'll be a special episode for you. I'm just thrilled. And Ray will join us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line later today. And I look forward to that conversation. And in all honesty, I don't think I could be happier for somebody to ride off into the sunset, so to speak, and just enjoy retirement and enjoy his family, because I know how much Ray loves his family, and I know how much Ray's family loves him. And as you would assume, over the years, 53 years of covering sports in general and covering the NFL as well and as closely as Ray Didinger has, you make a lot of sacrifices and you miss out on a lot of family things because you don't dictate your own schedule. I'm very happy for the man that he's going to get to enjoy this time with his family. And I look forward to that conversation coming up later today. So make sure you guys stay tuned to my social media, the Farzy Show page, obviously on YouTube and Twitter. And make sure you guys are following along so you guys can see when we're able to put that interview up there. But I know I'll be talking to him at 9:30 today. I'm crossing my fingers I'm able to go live like I am right now. Hopefully I can do this again without PJ, but who's on vacation, by the way. So I look forward to it. I look forward to that conversation. Ray Didinger will be joining us later in the day. Before I get to the rest of our sponsors and our chat check, obviously, I wanted to get to a couple other things. I wasn't going to pay much attention to this. And yesterday, I talked about it for maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I don't know. Not a long time. But during Game 5 of the Celtics series with the Miami Heat, Joel Embiid put this out there into the universe. A lot of people, myself included, but other people, friends of the show, and I showed you this yesterday, Joel Embiid put out there that Miami needs another star. To which a great conflagration erupted. Max McGee of SportsCenter saying, bro, well, you knew this was going to do. Why are you doing it? Tiago Scabano, that we know from Painted Lines, as I was saying yesterday, Philly needs to go on to the second round. It started an uproar. I pushed it aside, almost like when Joel Embiid shushed us at the Wells Fargo Center, because I thought you're either in on the joke or you're not. Joel Embiid is at a point where, yeah, I think he likes to poke fun. I think he does like to troll. His name is right there in his Twitter profile, Troel Embiid. All right? So we should all understand what the guy's doing. Now, one thing I didn't highlight for you was that about 15, 20 minutes after we tweeted that original tweet, he put this out there in the universe saying, okay, y'all are stupid, laugh my ass off, crying, laughing emojis. Okay, there's 4 of them for you right there. I assumed that he was joking anyway. But then I start to see Sports Illustrated and then other local media outlets put it out there that, is Joel Embiid forcing his way out of Philly? I'm going to go ahead and answer this. Oh, and I'll reference it again. Joel Embiid's picture being posted all over the internet with Jimmy Butler, and they're both in Heat jerseys. Somebody photoshopping a Heat jersey onto Joel Embiid already. So the question comes out. Is Joel Embiid forcing his way out of Philly? No, he is not forcing his way out of Philadelphia. I'm going to say this. Here's the biggest reason why I don't think he is. And I'm not getting nothing sappy like, oh, he loves Philadelphia, he'd never leave. No, I believe that if it comes later in his career and he doesn't feel like the Sixers are in a position to win a championship or compete for a championship and all, he's gone. I get that. I think that goes for any athlete. But here's why Joel Embiid, here's why this doesn't. Here's why this little tweet right here doesn't lead me down the path of Joel Embiid is forcing his way out. Do you honestly think if Joel Embiid is going to force his way out of Philadelphia, it's going to be subtle? Do you think that there's going to be a little tweet out there like that? No. That's not how Joel Embiid is going to force his way out of Philadelphia. For a man who has mastered drama, I think he's going to make the Ben Simmons ordeal look like making cupcakes. I think he's going to put on a show. And I don't think that constitutes just one little tweet saying how Miami needs another star, which, by the way, is a statement of fact. I think they do need another star. But you know who else also needs another star? The Philadelphia 76ers. And that was my overall point yesterday. So I don't take this little thing here as a great first step. Excuse me. A big first step in leaving Philly or forcing his way out. I take it as Joel Embiid, yes, trolling us. I think he knew what he was doing. I think he was poking fun. Do I appreciate it? No. Do I like that he did it? No. And it's not because I don't find it funny. I don't like it because now I got to see Photoshop Miami Heat jerseys on Joel Embiid, who, as Brett Brown so accurately and many times pointed out over and over and over again, the crown jewel of the process, Joel Embiid. So, yeah, I don't need to see that. I don't appreciate it. I laughed a little bit simply because I knew that it would get people up in a tizzy. I just didn't think people would take it serious enough to now say, Joel Embiid wants to leave Philly. Oh, my God. No, I'm not taking it like that. I take it as Joel Embiid, inappropriate. I took it as grandma sitting at the table. The kid makes an inappropriate joke, and you go, hey, come on, grandma's here. Like, that's it. Inappropriate. If you were a Conan O'Brien fan a long time ago, during his 12:35 show on NBC, they used to do a bit called Inappropriate. And this would be inappropriate. Inappropriate. That's a poll, folks. That's a random reference that I guarantee you no one else is going to roll out in front of you today. So you're welcome on getting a Memorial Day weekend started off right. By the way, speaking of just random things real quick, and I meant to get into this in the Phillies conversation. We're about to get into the Eagles conversation, but yesterday, Dave from UK Phillies hit me up. And he said, hey, man, I'm going to be in town next week. I'm going to the Phillies games. If you're going down there, I'd love to meet up in person. And now, loyal listeners and followers of this show know that of all weeks for UK Phillies, Dave, to be in Philadelphia and want to meet up with me, I am going to be in the UK next week for my cousin's wedding in London. Well, just north of London. It's like the Lansdale of London, as my brother likes to say. It's north of London, like 45 minutes. But I'm going to be in London while he's coming to Philadelphia. So, unfortunately, we won't be able to meet up. I was thinking about hitting him up because I'm going to the Ted Lasso bar, which, as I understand, is not too far from where Dave lives. So I was going to be like, hey, man, why don't you come to the Ted Lasso bar? I think it's called the Prince's Head. And I would be like, dude, why don't we meet up and we'll do an interview at the bar. And we'll just talk Phillies for a couple of minutes. I'll buy you a pint and we'll go on from there. And sure enough, he's going to be in Philly while I'm going to be in London. And I was like, you're not going to believe this. And he hit me back. He just goes, what are the odds? What are the odds? What are the odds? Right, people? What are the odds? Hey, what are the odds Chris Sims snubs Jalen Hurts 2 years in a row? For the people on the podcast, I know this is not visual, but I just want to let you know that was a perfect segue. Jalen Hurts was left off of Chris Sims' top 40 quarterbacks in the NFL last year. left off the list. This year, the former NFL quarterback put out his top 40 countdown, and he's been slowly releasing the names, about 5 at a time. And I'm going to take my scroll off the screen for a second just to give this its proper due. Jalen Hurts comes in ranked at number 25. All right. A 15 slot improvement, I guess. No, he wasn't even ranked 40th, so maybe a 16 slot. Maybe it was 41. I don't know. But Chris Sims, to his credit, pointed out at the end of last year, I made a mistake with Jalen Hurts. Above, you see Trevor Lawrence comes in at number 24, Justin Fields at 23, Zach Wilson at 22, Daniel Jones at 21. I don't think so. Here's my problem. I think most people are going to take Trevor Lawrence over Jalen Hurts. I don't have a problem with that. Justin Fields? Zach Wilson? Certainly not Daniel Jones. If anything, Daniel Jones has shown you why he's not the guy. But here's why I'm not going to die on Jalen Hurts' hill just yet. I will say I think Justin Fields is a snubbing. I think Zach Wilson is a snubbing. And I think Daniel Jones is a snubbing. I think Jalen Hurts should be ranked higher than Fields, Wilson, and Jones. Trevor Lawrence, not so much. I think one of the reasons, two main reasons why I think Jalen Hurts isn't ranked higher is because when you compare the rest of those offensive lines, Jalen Hurts has the best offensive line. And when you have the best offensive line and you're a quarterback in today's NFL, you can't have a 25th ranked passing attack. And as was my argument last year, although I really like Jalen Hurts, and I am rooting hard for Jalen Hurts, and I really want Jalen Hurts to be the franchise quarterback here in Philadelphia. I am a big fan of Jalen Hurts. I'm not ignoring his faults. And it's never a good thing when your offensive game plan in today's NFL asks you as a quarterback to do less. You know how we can improve? Let's have you do less. We're going to have you just make sure you're handing the ball to the running back. We're going to have short reads for you. We're not going to stretch the field too much because you don't really throw the best deep ball in the game. So we're going to become one of the best rushing attacks in the NFL. Jalen Hurts had a lot to do with that. He was a great running quarterback last year. But anytime in a pass-happy league, they're asking the quarterback to throw less, that's not the biggest vote of confidence in your arm, your accuracy. I've said it many times, his arm strength is not a huge problem. It's not a huge asset either, but it's not a huge problem. His accuracy above all else is the big problem. Breaking down what's in front of you from a defensive perspective, that is a big problem for Jalen Hurts that he needs to correct. Give me accuracy, give me know-how. Two things I need from Jalen Hurts next year. And I think it will help him and benefit him greatly that for the first time in, 6 years, he's going to have the same offensive scheme back-to-back years. Please let that be something that helps this young man out tremendously. But I think one of the reasons that Chris Sims has him ranked lower than Justin Fields, lower than Zach Wilson, and lower than Daniel Jones, it's number one, offensive line. Benefited greatly from that and didn't put up ungodly numbers with that offensive line in front of them. And basically, the entire offense was based on the run and not the pass. One of the few NFL offenses, probably the only NFL offense, really, outside of a healthy Derrick Henry Tennessee Titans or a Jonathan Taylor-led Colts team. One of the only offenses in the NFL that was pretty much predicated on the run. So that's not a vote of confidence for Jalen Hurts. Now, the good news is that he has worked himself into this list at all. After Chris Sims did admit at the end of last year, he should have had him on the list to begin with. And then the other is that he was at least ranked top 25. If he cracks into the top 15, if he cracks into the top 10, these are all things that could possibly happen with him improving his own skill set, I should say, and the weapons that are going to be surrounding him this year, as we pointed out so many times over again. The Eagles are giving him one hell of an offensive line. The Eagles are giving him targets. It's now, and you already know that this offense can run, and he can run himself. So if you know all that, it's all set up, as we've pointed out many times, and we will point out many times going into the season, going into training camp. All the pieces are there for Jalen Hurts. the offense has already taken a step forward. Jalen Hurts is still there. We got to see him. He's a couple of steps behind. Now, going into training camp, going into the season, we could see him match the level of talent that has been risen around him. And hopefully, the high tide raises all ships. And hopefully, Jalen Hurts goes up there and then takes those guys to the next level as well. That's what we're going to be crossing our fingers for. That's going to be waiting for to see the most. As we've said many times before with Jonathan Gannon, we're waiting to see if this defense takes that step forward. Now that he has much nicer pieces on this defense, we're going to see if he can take them to the next level. It's going to be the same thing for Jalen Hurts offensively and Nick Sirianni offensively. But if Nick Sirianni's calling a good game plan and he's calling good plays and Jalen Hurts isn't executing because of high throws or not being able to break down what's in front of him, well, then this Eagles team is still going to have an issue, a huge issue. I really like Jalen Hurts. I'm rooting for Jalen Hurts. I hope he's the guy going forward, but he's got to prove it this year. That's the bottom line. Now, along with this, and I mentioned this earlier, this guy's out of the country. Pardon me, I forget where he's at, but he follows the Eagles like no other. Thomas Peterson, if you're not following, Thomas R. Peterson, Thomas RP93 on Twitter, put out these numbers with some of the quarterbacks that we just referenced and their bad throw percentage among 33 quarterbacks in the NFL. This is Thomas's tweet. I'm posting the tweet on the show for the people on the podcast, and I'm just reading it off right here. I'll show you Chris Sims' list one more time. Jalen Hurts at 25, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, and Daniel Jones. Now we'll go to the bad throw percentage. Zach Wilson goes in there at number 23. 23. He's ranked number 33rd. Then Fields 32nd. Excuse me. Trevor Lawrence 29th. Jones 22nd. Jalen Hurts third fewest bad throws. Now you could also say that a big part of this is the bad throw percentage. So it's not going to hurt him as much, I guess. But 14%. That's third in the NFL. That's pretty damn good. On target throws, Jalen Hurts had a 78.2 percentage of being on target. So let's say 78% being on target. That was better than Daniel Jones, who was at 76%, Justin Fields at 72%, Trevor Lawrence at 71%, and Zach Wilson at 69%. Nice. 69% at 33rd ranked in the league. Jalen Hurts, 8th in the league with the quarterbacks that are also on this list with Chris Sims. Those numbers blew me away. I would have thought he was well outside the top 3, maybe even outside the top 10 when it comes to bad throw percentage at 14%. Holy shnikes. But on-target throws, 78.2%, 8th best in the NFL among 33 qualifying quarterbacks. Thomas Peterson, hats off to you. Those are some amazing numbers there surrounding Jalen Hurts. Absolutely amazing numbers. Before we get into our chat check, before we get into the rest of our sponsors, one last thing I wanted to show you here. I was going to wait for the morning rush, but why wait? Why wait? Yesterday, if you guys missed it, Western Conference Finals, somehow magically, after all their injuries, especially Klay Thompson, who had an ungodly game yesterday, just incredible. Watching the game yesterday, the Golden State Warriors go off. They built a huge lead. The Mavericks were able to come back, but the Warriors win. They clinch the series 4-1. They move on to their 6th finals appearance, I believe, in the last 8 years. Pretty incredible. And they're back. After the game, the Dubs fans were getting kind of rowdy. All right, to say the least. The Dubs fans were getting kind of rowdy, and Charles Barkley didn't take too kindly of it. Too kindly of it. He's on the broadcast, and a shirt hits him. Here's the video on TNT last night.
Yo, they throwing stuff up here. Hey, Chuck. Chuck, sit down, no. Come on, Chuck. Sit down, Chuck. Sit down, Chuck. Sit down, Chuck. We will be back.
What That's fired again. I miss PJ, man. For the people on the podcast, a shirt hit Chuck in the back of the head, and Charles Barkley stepped up. Excuse me, I'm not using my proper podcast voice. For the people on the podcast, the video just depicted Charles Barkley jumping up to his feet after a Dubs fan threw a shirt that grazed his right shoulder. When he popped up, he turned around as if he wanted to fight the entire Dubs fan base. Ernie Johnson is, hey, Charles, let's calm down, more or less. Kenny the Jet, hey there, buddy. Well, you might want to stop that. You don't want to fight a whole crowd. I don't know if Chuck was messing around. We know Chuck has got a fuse, folks. But I'd like to think he was having fun with it, and apparently not. So Chuck got up in arms yesterday. But fortunately, he just kind of chilled out after that. Let me tell you about the great people at Rothman Orthopaedics who will bring us our interview with Ray Dinger a little bit later in the day. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need a exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Visit them, one of their 30-plus locations in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, including 4 orthopedic-only urgent cares. So check out RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. How about the people at Versus Games? Look for this logo. The half teal, half light red V for Versus Game in the App Store, Google Play Store. Download it to your phone and then play away. Challenge me, challenge your friends, challenge your family, challenge your followers. Put out different questions, such as the question we have going on right now. Who will be higher in the standings? It's always binary. Who will be higher in the standings by the end of the month? May 30th at 11:39 p.m. Who will be higher in the standings? The Philadelphia Phillies or the Miami Marlins? Who will be higher in the standings? You get that right, the binary question, you know what you're going to get? Some cash. That's what you're going to get. You like cash? I like cash. I love cash. I love money. You can win that just by downloading the app and guessing right. That's all you got to do. Guess right on Versus Game. Download it to your phone. Follow the Farzy Show, at Farzy Show, and follow our questions that we ask and try to win yourself some fine money. All brought to you by the great people of Versus Game. How about Freestone Farm CBD? How about 20% off your CBD? You like that? You like a money? I save you the money. 20% off at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. That's FreestoneFarmCBD.com. I'm sure you've tried other products, other brands, but honestly, Freestone Farm CBD is amazing. It's great after working out. It's great to help you relax at the end of the day. It's great to help put you to sleep as well. And what's even more exciting, our friends at Freestone Farm CBD just unveiled an all-new strain menu with some supremely good CBD at prices that you'll love. Check it out, FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You'll find it out right there. The menu is something that you'll absolutely have to check out with strains like their insane Tropical Bayox that clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1% in Super CBD, which is half Hindu Kush at 21%. The genetics, they don't get any better than this. They also grow all their premium hemp flower in the Garden State with organic inputs and IPM. There's absolutely nothing synthetic from farm to jar. And after harvest, they carefully preserve all plant compounds with a perfect 3-month cure. Just one look or smell is enough to know that it's CBD done right. So do what I do, ladies and gentlemen. Check out FreestoneFarmCBD.com. 20% off at FreestoneFarmCBD.com and use promo code Farzy. That's promo code Farzy at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. FreestoneFarmCBD.com. How about the people at PHL Sports Nation? PHL Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Oh boy, things are going to get rowdy in the chat check today, folks. You know why? Because I can do this. Hello again, April. Good morning. Putting that up on there. Kevin. Good morning, Kevin. Everybody, nice to see you. This is the one that scared me from April earlier in the show. Marc in charge of the board. Crazy thing. Oh, April, thank you so much. Nice shirt. This one. Oh, this is really opening up. That collar. Good Lord. Sorry, folks. I didn't know. This doesn't really have a plunging neckline as much as it just has a wide open neckline. Like, There's a lot going on there, is what I'm saying. Tavita, what's happening? Good morning to you as well. Sean, good morning. Nice to see you. Alpha Anon 93, epic podcaster. Thanks. Appreciate it. Tavita, Nola is the best pitcher. I don't even know why they bother with other players. Yeah. Just have Aaron Nola pitch every game, folks. Why not? Let's see. Suarez is horrible. I don't even know why he's in Major League Baseball. Tavita, I like putting these up there. There is an iceberg that we should have avoided, but we didn't. Joe on the Titanic. Is that from yesterday's bit? Sean, thank you. Yeah, that iceberg was named Odubel Herrera. But yesterday, for whatever reason, somehow magically, he actually helped the Phillies win. What is this one? Why are all Joe's interviews so low? Because Joe's low. Like, I wish I could pump up the volume on Joe Girardi a little bit here. But he's not exactly a loud and boisterous man, unfortunately. April's answering Tyrita's question. Because Joe has the energy level of an old battery. Fair enough. John Cheeseborough. Good morning, Fars in Society. What's up there, John? Nice to have you. So does Harden. I believe Tavita is saying that Harden has a low battery energy as well. Oh, John, that's very nice. I can say I'm going to miss Ray Diddy with the legal pad and still writing notes on the show when they go live and when Barcade is ready to go to him. I've actually watched Ray Dinger. I sat next to him on more than one occasion in the press box, and man, he is going. It's amazing how that pen is just, first 10, 25, first 10, 25, first 10, 20, second 5 from the 20. Like he's just going through that notepad, marking every play. It's unbelievable. I don't know how he does it. I've tried logging plays. I used to log plays. In my brief career as a sports writer, I tried logging plays, including my time covering Temple football my senior year for the Temple column. Wow. It's tough. It's tough trying to make note on all that. Somebody will sit in the chair. Nobody will ever take his place. John, that's the best way to put it. Who will replace Ray Dinger? I'll answer that question for you. Nobody, because it's impossible to do that. Jim Grasmeter, what's up, buddy? Happy 3-day weekend. I always have to be reminded that it's a 3-day weekend. Know why? No days off, folks, before I go to take some days off. But I'm taping interviews, special feature pieces that hopefully we'll have for you guys ready to go by my vacation when I'll be in London town, more or less. Tavita saying good morning again to everyone. That's awesome. John Cheeseborough, Farzy pushing buttons is always a dangerous thing. You're damn right. Everybody, this is John again. Everybody knows that Joel Embiid likes to troll. That's not to say he thinks he should be the other star. I think he'd love to play with Jimmy Butler again. I just don't think that time is now. Kyle Swirly, what's up, buddy? Farzy and Froz and friends. Froz and friends, all right. Lester saying happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Howard Veal, Veal, double Farzy today. Aren't you lucky? April, bold of Chris Sims to be making a QB list, just saying. You know, it's one of those random things that you remember reading, and it doesn't have, like, it's so bearing on anything. But when Chris Sims was he at Texas? Yeah. He broke up with his girlfriend before his senior year. I remember reading this in Sports Illustrated so that he could concentrate on football. And I'm like, why did that stick out in my head? Like, why of all things, when I'm reading Sports Illustrated as like a 15, 16-year-old, why am I finding that amusing? But he did. April, Chuck was not having it. No, Charles Barkley was not having it last night. No doubt. April, Farzy in the field in London. I've thought about it. It's crossed my mind. I don't know if I'm going to pull it off or not, but it has crossed my mind once or twice, April. Thank you. To everybody in the chat, thank you for joining the show and getting your little FaceTime for those that have uploaded actual avatars there or profile pictures on their various comments. So appreciate you guys. Nice to have you along. Let's get into our morning rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars, skymotorcars.com. Phillies right back at it, as we highlighted earlier. You're going to have Bailey Falter, on the mound today against the New York Mets. It's going to be a 7:10 start time up there in New York, in Flushing, New York, at Citi Field. We'll see how the Phillies fare in that. Carlos Carrasco, former Phillies farmhand Carlos Carrasco, will get the start in that game. He is 4-1 on the season in a 3.50 ERA. I want to say Carrasco was in the Cliff Lee deal from the Indians, which is just bonkers to me. I want to say it was Carlos Carrasco and possibly Lou Morrison. Just off the top of my head. 7:10 start time in Flushing, New York. So that's what you got going on there. Western Conference Finals wrapped up last night, as most of you know. I mentioned it earlier, with the Warriors earning another trip back to the East, to the NBA Finals. Good for them. In the Eastern Conference Finals, by the way, I will say, Al Horford, if I didn't know any better, I would think he's on performance-enhancing drugs. The man has been off the charts. The Boston Celtics and Al Horford will try to close things out tonight at 8:30 in Boston at TD Bank Garden, I believe it's still called, against the Miami Heat. They'll try to close out the Heat. And no, Joel Embiid will not be suiting up for the Heat, at least not yet. Now I'm trolling. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Again, 9:30, most likely going live again with Ray Dininger as our guest to reflect on all the things he's done over his career, what he's looking forward to most. I'll get to the bottom of a lot of the questions you guys have, like how the hell are we going to go on without Ray Dininger breaking down the Eagles? And also, now that he's a fan and going to games as a fan, will he paint his face? These are questions that we need to know. My friend Ray Dininger will join us later today for a second installment of the Farzy Show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is the Farzy Show presented by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. Even though he was off today, my thanks to Jim Hyden, who does a great job producing the show. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzetta. Have a great rest of your day. Oh, wait, hold on. Don't even have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your day until 9:30 when I'm back with you guys with Ray Dininger. Until then, have a great day. Have a great rest of the enjoy the next 2.5 hours of your life. Be back with you guys a little bit later. Thanks for watching.